So in this video, I'd like to talk about the convert curve to edge loop and convert curve to border edge, and I'll touch briefly on project curves on mesh and snap curves on mesh. So in the past, if we had a geometry that was subdivided a couple times, and we had some wobbliness to it, so just go and sculpt it. Say it's like a little bit wobbly, and I want my control to like conform to this geometry. So what we had in the past was we could create a curve, make sure it's sitting on the outside of the mesh, and then we could go here, select this, and do project curves on mesh, and then we could scale it up, and then the CVs would be conformed. Now the other option I could do to help illustrate it a little bit better is I could go to modeling, curves, rebuild it, and give it maybe 20 CVs. So now we have a bunch of CVs, and we can now do project and grow this. And now we're getting a little bit closer to the shape and probably need more CVs. So just to illustrate, I'm going to go here, rebuild, and give it 40. And then project it on the surface. And you can see now we're getting it following pretty closely. So project will take the outer CVs and project them towards the center pivot, and whatever geometry is in the way, or sorry, whatever geometry is selected, it will project onto that geometry. The other one here is snap curves to mesh, and what that will do is it'll just take the CVs and snap it to the closest position. So if I run it, there it snapped it. But you can see the project was keeping a nice straight line, and then if I do snap, it's projecting to the closest point, and so it's not keeping as nice a straight line. But it can maybe conform a little bit better to the surface with the snap to surface. So those are the old project curves on mesh and the snap curves on mesh. And now what we have is we have convert curve to edge loop and convert curve to border edge. So for this to work, I need to make it a control, so I'll just call it CNT test control, or CNT control, sorry, CNT test. And then I will select my edge, and I just need to select one edge. I'm going to turn off mirroring, select one edge, select my control, and then do convert curve to edge loop. And so what we have now is my CNT test following that edge loop. And so this is a really nice way for it to conform 100% to the surface, and then I can do stuff like scale up pivot to make it a little bit off the surface. And so that basically, whatever edge loop you select, so if I were to go here and select this edge, select the control, and convert to edge loop, it will now follow that. And just to show that this is working with the auto rig, so what I can do is I'll create a helix. I will select this edge, and I've saved out the CNT test, so I'll import that. So CNT test is here, and I'll go to my edge. So with that edge selected, I'll go here and convert curve to edge loop. So there's my new curve. I'll delete this. I'll go to Vitella, save out my control CV, so export from selected. So now if I bring in test again, and I import my control CVs onto selected, it comes back as a helix. So this is just showing that it works. Like if you were building controls through the auto rig, this would come in with the control CV export. In the tools now we have an open color picker. We have a color picker, and so I can like switch the color here, and I can maybe apply this to a torus. So select this, select this, select this, and then convert edge, and you see it keeps its color and everything. Any attributes that are on the controller, it will keep those. So it's just changing the CVs, and it's not changing anything else about the controller. So that shows just some of the features. And then another feature that's here is, I can show it with the torus right now. So if I just like delete these faces, so what we can now do is we can select this curve again, select the geometry, and do convert curve to border edge. So what this did is it took the curve and made it conform to the border edge. This, I needed it when I was rigging feathers. So if you're rigging feathers and it's a flat surface like this, let's say we have a feather like that, and our controls are being built in FK. Now if I want the first FK control to conform to the feather, I can just select my curve, select the geometry, and now it conforms to the feather, and I can just do a little bit of offset. And so there's my new feather control. So this works great for feathers, for butterfly wings, or any kind of flat surface that needs a control to wrap around it. So that is the convert curve to edge loop and convert curve to border edge.